So, I'm still really intrigued by something you said that kind of ties to this also, developing that trust, the storytelling.
Yeah.
So when you're working with entrepreneurs, how do you get them to develop that story so that it flows and it pulls in the investor and they sort of can experience, the excitement of what you've experienced in a way that's, like you say, visceral. I love that term.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's about, number one, do the homework. What market are you servicing? What's your unique value proposition? Who's your customer? What's your customer avatar? What's your industry structure look like? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. Do have that set of information available so you know what problem you're solving. And there's typically multiple whys around that. Maybe there's 5 layers of why, to really get to the root of this problem that you're solving for this customer and why it's so important. Customers have thousands of problems. Is this on the top 2 or 3 list of problems they need to solve that's causing them immense pain in their business, in their life? If it is, then can you describe that in such a way, through an analogy, through a metaphor, through a case study, through something that people can relate to? And it doesn't have to be one of those things. I mean, you've got multiple tools to be able to tell that story, and one might be better than another. If something's extremely technical, you don't want to describe it in such a way that somebody's got to be a PhD in physics in order to understand your story.
Right.
So it gets back to knowing your audience, knowing who they are, how do they think. Even, if you can, know as much about the individual and their experience, and then describing in such a way that they can actually hear you and understand. But at a fundamental level, I think it starts with problem, solution. And so many entrepreneurs that I see, it's about the product. It's about the solution. They don't even start with the problem.
Right.
And if they do describe the problem, they don't describe it at a deep enough level to really get to that root point of why it's important. If they got there, then many times they don't have the other things. They don't have the story. They don't have the metaphor. They don't have the analogy.
I think a lot of them don't have that. And you said something here interesting that just really grabbed me too. That I tell entrepreneurs. We talked about this earlier in other discussions about developing boards. We tell entrepreneurs do your due diligence on the investor.
Yeah.
It's not just the investor doing due diligence on you.
Yeah.
But you said something. You really need to do the due diligence on the investor before you send them something.
Of course.
Before you show up for a meeting.
Yeah.
You need to really understand, what's that person's interest. And today with the internet, you can find out a lot about an investor. And then how to talk to that person, what's going to resonate with them. And you do need to, you don't have one pitch.
Yeah.
You have different pitches based upon the audience, based upon the particular person, based upon the particular fund. I think that's great, and I love that.